Well, let's talk to independent migration researcher now, Zoe Gardner. Great to have you with us. What do you make of Labour's approach? Good morning.
Good morning. I think that it's quite clear Labour is making the exact same mistake that the Conservatives did before them by ramping up the hostility and the rhetoric against immigration, by failing completely to make the case for the fact that we desperately need people in this country and can and should help people who are in desperate situations. All Labour's doing is funneling their vote to reform, just like the Tories did before them.
Yeah, so how much do you think this is a reaction to a political cost rather than, I suppose, a human cost?
It's absolutely a political calculation. It's unfortunately, according to all the evidence that we have available from us about how to confront the far right and how to confront anti-migrant, hateful xenophobic messaging, this is the exact wrong way to go about it. But everybody can tell that it's a political move, can't we? If you really want to punish migrants, whatever the cost to our country, then you know who you're voting for, and it isn't Labour, is it?
How comfortable do you feel then with Yvette Cooper in Rome?
Not comfortable at all. Italy has an extremely hard right, traditionalist government that is the successor to the fascist movement in that country. Their anti-migrant policies have been a disastrous failure. I think it's very interesting how a few months ago, all over our media, we were talking about Meloni's Albania plan and whether this was maybe the solution, and maybe it meant that we should have stuck to our Rwanda plan, which was something equally horrible but definitely different. And turns out that Meloni's Albania plan has, in fact, one thing in common with the Rwanda plan, in that it has faced repeated challenges in the courts and it has not got off the ground. And all it's ended up being is an extremely expensive operation of ferrying migrants here and then back again to there. And it hasn't done any good, and it hasn't helped any single person in Italy pay their bills this winter, and nor have any of Yvette Cooper's proudly stated deportations today helped any person in England pay their bills this winter. Our country needs a government that prioritizes our actual needs. And if this government fails to provide the basic public services and public infrastructure projects that the country so badly needs, then yes, we will turn to the far right. We won't turn back to Labour just because they said they'd give migrants a bit of a kicking.
Just zooming in, Zoe, briefly on some of the lines from this new Home Office release and Yvette Cooper's plans. She's saying new measures will deliver on border security, and she calls them one of the foundations that underpin the government's mission for a plan for change. So to tackle the gangs, the people that pay for people to come over on small boats. Your thoughts on some of the measures that she's releasing today? She wants to control this situation so it's better for the future.
Doesn't that sound familiar? Are we ever going to have a break from this cycle of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? I mean, the previous government also made themselves all about controlling the border. If we try to zoom out for a bit and think realistically, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, will the UK no longer be a destination where desperate people escaping from danger seek protection? Of course it will. Of course it will. We're one of the richest, safest, most stable countries in the world that can offer the best opportunities for people to rebuild their lives. We've all seen over the last weeks the true scale, the reality of the horror of the Assad regime that so many Syrians have fled. People need to escape that kind of thing. They just do. And the UK just does need to be part of the solution. And this pathetic political pantomime about toughening our borders has never got us anywhere. It has always cost us huge amounts of money, huge amounts of suffering to the people involved. And as I say, it's never ever helped one British person heat our homes, get a doctor's appointment, or access the services that we so badly need.
OK, we'll leave it there. Zoe Gardner, great to get your take on this morning.